Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you the first part of my April wrap-up. So April had the amazing event of being the OWLs Magical Readathon, where I've read 12 books and so finished all 12 prompts. But I also read 9 more books in the month, and without bringing you an hour-long wrap-up, I decided my only option was to do an OWLs wrap-up and a second part April wrap-up. I hope this is making sense. It's very simple. Don't know why I felt the need to explain. So in this video, I thought I'd run you through the books I read to fill the OWLs prompts. If you were not following my OWLs journey, you won't know, but I'm just getting my little guidebook. I was following the prompts to become a spell maker, which is not showing very well. So the prompts I had to read for Spellmaker I will run through first, the first one being Ancient Runes, and that was to read a book with a heart on the cover or in the title, and I went for A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Brigid Kemmerer. This is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. I definitely really liked it, but I didn't realise this was going to be so centred on one character. So I think the only reason it didn't get 5 stars is it just didn't fit my expectations, which is completely my fault. But yeah, I thought this was going to be like a 50-50 split between 2 characters. It definitely wasn't, but I did really enjoy the story. I don't really know how much more to say about this without spoiling anything, because obviously it's the second book. So I would definitely say that if you are into light fantasy and love a good retelling, then this sequel series, yeah, there's a third book coming, is definitely for you. Next was Arithmancy, and that was to read a book out of your normal favourite genre. And I read The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turnton. I didn't like this book. I gave it 2 stars. This was my book club pick for the month, and it just really wasn't my cup of tea. This is about Aidan Bishop, who goes into a different body in a house and he has to identify who has killed Evelyn Hardcastle. Really weird. It lost me quite a lot through the book. Everyone else in the book club really enjoyed it and didn't really find many issues with it, but it definitely wasn't my favourite thing in the world. Yeah, I was very lost. It went on for too long and I unhauled my copy pretty much straight away. I'm going to take this necklace off because I want it to look a bit Harry Potter, but it doesn't suit the t-shirt. Next was Astronomy, and that was to read a book mainly when it's dark outside, and I filled that prompt with Frostbite by Rochelle Mead. This is the second book in the Vampire Academy series, and this was actually a reread for me. I'm pretty sure I read it like overnight, so it was mainly dark and like in the evening after work, and I gave this book 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I had a great time reading it. I cannot wait to read the next book, which I am actually starting the day I'm filming this video, so really excited about that. This is about a academy for a species of mortal vampires and their protectors, and in this book they go on a winter trip skiing, and that's pretty much it. We're following the forbidden romance, not romance, between Rose, our main character, and her trainer Dimitri, which is my favourite element to these stories, and I can't wait to see the development of everything in book 3. Next, for Charms, you had to read a book with a white cover, and I went for Follow Me Back by Nikki Cloak. This book I've had for so long, and I've already unhauled it. I gave it 2 stars. It was not a fun time. This was a thriller where the main characters are getting texts, and there's also a reality show aspect of it, which I thought I would really like, because any book adding into like a reality series I do enjoy, but I couldn't get my head around this one. The twist at the end, like the big reveal, was really good, and that is what saved it from being a 1 star to a 2 star, but I couldn't give the book credit for the whole time that I'd been bored out of my brain just for the ending. So the ending got it up a star, but I did unhaul it straight away. I do actually still have my copy, so if everything I've just said has really appealed to you, then please let me know if you'd like it and I will post it out to you. Next is Divination, and that was to use a random number generator to pick a book from your TBR. So I ended up with The Pretty One by Lucinda Rosenfeld. which again I gave 2 stars. The second part of my wrap up is going to be much more positive, but these were where my bad reads were. So this one, again, I already unhauled. I do still have it in my possession. So if what I just say appeals to you, then please let me know and you can have it. This is about 3 sisters, and it's just a commentary on their lives, and they're all trying to achieve different things. Like, one sister's known as the pretty one is the perfect one is the political one, and there's their dad has been in hospital at some point, their mom goes into hospital at some point, there's a child who wants to know who her dad is, things like that. It was fine. I think it would have made a good movie maybe, but reading the book I was kind of bored. But yeah, it's just like a women's contemporary, and I would, if you want it, give it a go. It just wasn't my favourite thing in the world. Next was History of Magic, and that's to read a book with witches or wizards in. I stretched it to warlocks and went with City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. This is the 4th book in the This is the 4th book in the Mortal Instruments series, and I have been buddy reading all of Cassandra Clare's works with Brittany over at the Neverending Reader. So we finally got around to this one in April, and I very much enjoyed it. I did only give it 4 stars though. So all of my ratings for the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices are between 4 and 5 stars. So they're really, really good. But something about this one just didn't really sit as nicely with me. It took a long time for anything interesting to happen, and a lot of the characters' decisions just made me angry. And it didn't shock me as much. So obviously this was a reread. I don't mean to say obviously. It's obvious to me. This was a reread, and it didn't go as well the second time. I know books, it's really hard to like rate a book saying I didn't enjoy it as much as the first time I read it, because some of these things are supposed to be shocking. I remembered a lot of the twists, but yeah, just didn't sit as well as the first time, but still 4 stars, still a really, really good read. And I can't wait to carry on, because I think I've read up to City of Lost Souls. So when we read City of Lost Souls, that'll be my last reread. And I've never known what happens in City of Heavenly Fire. I really can't talk today. I've just finished my day's work, so I think that's what's making me struggle. But yeah, History of Magic, 4 stars. The last prompt I had to fill to be a spellmaker was Transfiguration. That's to read a book that includes shapeshifting. I went for Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. This is a graphic novel. I don't particularly read graphic novels. The style of this one is very cool. And I listened to the audiobook of this back in, I want to say November, December. I'm not exactly sure when. So then I actually read the physical graphic novel, and I stuck with my 4-star rating. I really, really enjoyed this. 4 stars for me for a graphic novel is insanely high, because I'm not a giant fan of them. I think me personally can't get on with the style of reading a graphic novel. But this one, really enjoyed. This is about a girl called Nimona who can shapeshift, and she teams up with a arch-villain, super-villain, I know what I mean, to just take over the world, I guess. The kingdom, that was probably a better word. Really enjoyed this. I'll be hanging on to my copy, and it's just like a nice read to flick back to. So now there are 5 more subjects that I didn't have to complete an OWL in to be a spellmaker, but I just decided to finish them all off anyway. The first one being Care of Magical Creatures. This was to read a book with a bird with a beak on the cover, an animal with a beak on the cover, and I went for The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. So I rated this book 5 stars. I have read it before years and years ago. I want to say like 2012 I read this book, and I gave it 3 stars. I read it back now, and I can't believe I would ever not rate this 5 stars. It was amazing. It was very stereotypical to the time that it was written. I'm just going to check when it was actually written. 2008. Okay, I feel old. It was quite stereotypical, but oh my god, it was great. I've been rereading these in a group with Connor. I'll link his YouTube because I don't think I have done that yet. And we read The Hunger Games and Catching Fire in April to read Mockingjay at the start of May for when the prequel comes out. I won't be rushing to the I won't be rushing to the prequel, but I did really, really enjoy reading this book. I really enjoyed reading Catching Fire, but you'll hear about that in my next wrap up, and I'm excited to get to Mockingjay. I don't think I need to explain what this book is about. The movies are amazing too. I rewatched the movies. That's all I really have to say on this one. Next was Defence Against the Dark Arts, and that was to read a book set by the sea or at the coast. I read Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno. This is set on an island that is actually called By the Sea, so I don't think I could have got any more specific for this prompt. This is about two sisters mainly in a family where every woman in the family is a witch, and they have to get their powers before, well, their power rather, they have one like special trait before their 18th birthday, and they're getting very close to their 18th birthday. And one of our main characters, Georgina, she doesn't have anything yet, so she's getting quite concerned, but her sister Mary can float. This is a very short book. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, my rating, I gave it 4 stars. Really good. Wasn't quite perfect enough for 5 stars for me, but I had an amazing time reading it. I have another Katrina Leno book on my shelf, Everything All at Once, and I can't wait to get around to that one because I really did enjoy how this was written. Next was Herbology, and the prompt was Mimbulus Mimbletonia, to read a book starting with the letter M. I went for More Than We Can Tell by Brigid Kemmerer. This is the sequel to Letters to the Lost, and it's the second Brigid Kemmerer book I read in April. This is potentially my favourite Brigid Kemmerer book of them all. This is about Rev, who is the best friend of Declan from Letters to the Lost, and all of the struggles in his life. He lived with his adopted mum and dad, and they have like another new foster brother come in that throws the family balance off a bit, I guess you could say. And then we have Emma, who is a game designer. She has made a game. Her dad is an actual game designer, and her mom is like some form of doctor, and she's struggling to get her mom on side with the fact that she is enjoying designing games and that is something she would want to pursue as a career. I really loved this. It was amazing. I don't really know what else I can say. If you haven't read any Brigid Kemmerer, then please get on it. Please get on this book. It is so good, and I did not regret a minute of the time I spent reading this. I picked it up on a day where I was only going to read 50 pages or so, and I read the whole book in one sitting. It's very good. Next was Muggle Studies, to read a book from the perspective of a Muggle, and I went with The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, and I gave it 5 stars. This book was so good. Did I say I gave this one 5 stars too? I probably did. You probably guessed from what I said anyway. This I read as a buddy read with Emily from Novel Novels, and oh my god, it was so good. It is so... I didn't realise how smutty it was going to be. I thought this was about a woman with Asperger's trying to find a boyfriend. It is not. It's about a woman with Asperger's who would like to be taught how to have sex. It was amazing. She hires an escort. Don't really know what I can say. Some of the detail was great. I don't know another word rather than great. It was very descriptive. Had a lovely time reading it. I know Emily enjoyed it. I had a great experience buddy reading it with Emily, and yeah, would thoroughly recommend this book. And finally we have Potions, where the prompt was Shrinking Solution, to read a book under 150 pages. I went for The Kissing Booth Road Trip by Beth Reckles. It's a very tiny little book, and I picked this because who would I be if I didn't read one book even slightly linking to long distance relationships? If you don't know what I'm on about, don't worry, ignore me. If you do know what I'm on about, ignore me because you've had enough of it now. But this is about Elle, and it's sort of a spoiler. Yeah, I'm not going to go into detail. Our main character, who is Elle from The Kissing Booth, is in a long distance relationship, and she decides to go on a road trip with her best friend to go and see her boyfriend, and that is pretty much it. It's very tiny. I actually didn't give this a rating because it obviously did not compare to the full books at all. This was the World Book Day release. Yeah, it didn't compare to the full books at all, but it was still a very good time. So that is it. Those are all the prompts I read specifically for the OWLs this month. As I said, this will be part 1 of my wrap-up. Part 2 will be coming within the next week after I've posted this. If you want to hear any more in-depth thoughts on these, I will link all of my vlogs in the description, because I vlogged the entire month of the OWL, so you will see my like instant reactions to these books, I guess, if you'd be interested in that. But anyway, on that note, thank you very much for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.